Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 cent Switch gaming video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that caught my attention for this week and give you my thoughts and my opinions about it. So why don't we get started with the first one, and this one has to do with Ubisoft and Far Cry 5 that came out. So why don't we start the first part with Far Cry 5, though. As we know, that game is coming out, I think, in March 27th, though, and some new details have come out about it. Some of it I like, some of it is going to might be controversial to some people, depending on your point of view, though. Ubisoft itself is, while they have issues, while they certainly have issues, though, they certainly are one of the better companies that have come out. So why don't we get started and get my notes out. So we'll start off with the first one about the campaign length, though, that's come out. And according to Ubisoft via GameSpot, again, links will be in the description of this video, though, it points out that the campaign will be about, based on the player, how well they are with the game, though, about 25 hours long, he told GameSpot during the interview, though. He says he went on, this is from executive producer Dan Hayes. Hayes went on to say that based on playsets, Ubisoft has seen players getting distracted from the main story with things like fishing or hunting, which will extend the total playtime. Of course, everyone plays differently, and in a game like Far Cry 5 that lets you play on your own, 25 hours could turn into many more. We've seen, what we've seen is people getting into the world and just spending 4 or 5 hours fishing or hunting, or just doing stuff that we haven't really prepared for, Hayes says. So really, it depends on how you play, though. He also points out there will be a map editor, so you can use to build, so you could build head-to-head game-type matches if you want to, though. We also know about a season pass, which, again, debatable depending on how you want to look at that. That will have people have some of the scenarios take place in Mars and the Vietnam War. Other information that has come out that, from what I understand, though, is basically, let's see, what is it though? Oh yeah, is that the campaign can be played offline as well, which I think is a very good thing. Let's see if I can find that part up. According to during the interview, they said Ubisoft confirmed that Far Cry 5's full campaign will be played offline. Of course, if you want to play in co-op or are interested in checking out the game's online component, you will need an internet connection, though. You will expect to be able to play a campaign offline, but not all games allow you to do that. For example, Bungie's Destiny 2 requires a constant internet connection even when playing solo, which, personally, I'm glad that you can enjoy this game offline if you want to. I mean, nothing wrong with having an online component, but I'm glad that you can at least play this offline, so that's certainly nice. And then, of course, there's the controversial part, which is the microtransactions, though. According to what Ubisoft has said, Far Cry 5 offers microtransaction. Executive producer Dan Hayes stressed that the game will be generous in what it offers, though if you want to speed up your progress by spending money, you have that option. We set the game up to be generous, Hayes says. We set the game up so nothing is locked away. You could go out and explore, and the game will reward you with your exploration. Ubisoft PRs followed up to offer a full statement of Far Cry 5's microtransactions, saying that it will allow players to speed up their progress. Importantly, however, they are for cosmetic items only. Nothing you can buy will affect gameplay. Far Cry's microtransactions will be available for single player and co-op, and apparently head-to-head multiplayer as well. It will probably make gamers happy to learn that all Far Cry's microtransaction items are cosmetics only, do not affect gameplay. This is similar to the setup for another Ubisoft game's Assassin's Creed Origin. That game offers time save pack that includes items or packs of in-game currencies that you can spend to speed up your progress. They are totally optional, and they can be unlocked through normal gameplay though. Alright, so before we get to the Ubisoft one, let me talk about my thoughts on the Far Cry one. And for me personally, I'm kind of mixed. There are things I liked about this announcement, or what they talked about, and there are things I'm a little bit concerned about though. First of all, I'm happy that the campaign is long. 25 hours is long, so that's definitely good though. Although it depends on your view on Ubisoft games in general, because there's a criticism that they offer tend to be the sameness in terms of, you know, climb a tower, unlock certain things, yada yada yada. So depending on your view, that may or may not be your thing though. But it's great that it's offering that it's 25 hours long, and I'm glad that the game can be enjoyed offline as well, so you don't have to be online all the time. I think that's a good thing though. The microtransaction part might be an issue for some people though. According to this, what GameStop is saying, according to the article and the interview they had, assuming what they're saying is true, it seems as though it's going to be set up in a way that Assassin's Creed Origin was, that while you can use it, you can still play and enjoy the game even if you don't want to use it at all, which I'm kind of mixed about that, especially in a post-Star Wars Battlefront 2, where we all saw how that played out exactly. So I think a lot of gamers are going to be approaching this with some caution with the whole microtransaction thing. I will admit, at least the way this is set up though, if what Ubisoft is saying true, and they're true to their words though, then this is something I'm somewhat willing to tolerate though. Now, I'm not saying the argument of microtransactions goes away or anything like that. Keep in mind that argument will not go away, and Ubisoft will still be criticized for even putting it in the game. That said, if it's set up in a way that doesn't force me to use it or force people to buy it or anything like we saw with Star Wars Battlefront 2, although EA supposedly changed that, too little too late to be exact though, but as long as they're not forcing me to use it though, I'm somewhat okay with it though. I still don't think those microtransactions should be in there, but as long as it's not being shoved down our throats or us being forced to use it though, then it's something I'm somewhat willing to tolerate though, okay? Again, like I said, the criticism doesn't go away, but I will say, compared to what EA did with Star Wars Battlefront 2 or what Warner Bros. Games did with Middle-earth Shadow Wars, I will say this is certainly the better approach. It's not the perfect approach. I am aware that the criticism won't go away, but at least that certainly is the better approach indeed. So I'm glad that they have this set up, but at the same time, that doesn't mean it won't stop them, say, like if they decide to do what EA did though. Although I think although I would recommend Ubisoft not doing that, considering the backlash EA got with Star Wars Battlefront 2. So a little uneasy about the microtransaction part, but I do like what I'm hearing at least about this game, at least in certain areas though. As for the other part about Ubisoft, let me get the article out though. Apparently, Ubisoft is not going to have to face a takeover by Vinvedel, Vivendi. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name incorrectly though, but apparently it said again, this is from the GameSpot article, you can check it out yourself. In recent years, French media conglomerate Vinvedel has acquired more and more stock in Ubisoft, viewing concerns that the company would eventually attempt a hostile takeover from the game publisher. Ubisoft and CEO Yel Guillemot, Guillemot, again, apologize if I'm saying the name wrong though, have made it clear they oppose the move, and now they're gotten precisely what they were seeking, a complete sell-off of Vinvedel's Ubisoft stock. The news was shared today with Ubisoft saying it has reached an agreement from Vinvedel to sell its entire stake in the publisher. The shares being sold will go to multiple sources. The Guillemot brothers, again, apologize if I'm saying the name incorrectly, will acquire some. Ubisoft will initiate a buyback for some, and the company will get 2 new long-term investors: the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan and Tencent, Tencent. The latter is a massive Chinese company that also owns stakes in various of game companies, including Fortnite maker Epic. This acquisition by Tencent, which amounts to a 5% of the company, is part of a new partnership meaning to significantly accelerate the reach of Ubisoft's franchise in China in the coming years, according to a press release. It says, alright, so in other words, for a couple of years, Vin Vanel has been trying to buy off Ubisoft, and that sort of have upset some gamers and upset some fans who, while Ubisoft has its share of criticism for some of the BS they have done, they feel that Vin Vanel buying Ubisoft would be much worse though. But it seems as though that may not be the case anymore, and we'll see if this new partnership with these 2 companies turn out to be good. So overall, I'm glad that they were able to avoid a hostile takeover. Hopefully this is a good sign of better things to come for Ubisoft. We'll just have to wait and see. But interestingly enough, this is definitely a interesting news. I haven't really followed it that much though, but we'll see how this plays out in the long term, to be exact. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to our second part and my thoughts of the recent Nindies Showcase and Direct that came out this week. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for this part we're going to be taking a look at the Nindies Showcase or Direct or whatever the hell you want to call it though. So earlier this week though, Nintendo, I believe it was on a Tuesday, showed off basically an 11-minute Direct that showed off a lot of the upcoming indie games that were, or Nindies if you want to refer to it, that will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And according to an article from Game Informer, again, links are in the description, here's sort of a breakdown of what they showed off though. Mark of the Ninja Remaster, Fall 2018, Fantasy Strike, Summer 2018, Just Shape and Beats, if I'm saying the name correctly, launched first on the Switch, Summer 2018, Garage launched its first on the Switch, Spring 2018, Pool Panic launch as a Switch exclusive 2018. I might try that one out though. I did like Adult Swim's other game, Battle Chef Brigade, that came out first though. Bomb Chicken launches first on Switch, Summer 2018. Lumines, Lumines, if I'm saying the name correctly, Remaster, Spring 2018. Regains Her Majesty, Spring 2018. Lightfall launches first on Switch, Spring 2018. West of Loading launches as a Switch exclusive, Spring 2018. Pod, P-O-D-E, Spring 2018. The Messenger, Summer 2018. Bad North launches first on Switch, Summer 2018. The Banner Sagas 3, Summer 2018, and Banner Saga 1 and 2, which they've titled coming soon though. Overall, my thought about this Direct is that, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't exactly anything mind-blowing. I wasn't sort of blown away in the way like the last Nindies Direct, which is, you know, the announcement of No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Back, though. And, I mean, some of the games are kind of interesting, though. Let's see if I can get that list back again. The Pool Panic one is kind of interesting, and the West of Loading, which is sort of like a stick figure type approach. Those are kind of interesting though, but the ones that stuck out for me the most were Mark of the Ninja Remastered. I never really tried that game out before, and I'm looking forward to trying it out on the Switch though. The Messenger, which is also another ninja game with a 8-bit, 16-bit, sort of like a 2D style game as well. And the Banner Saga, which is, I've heard some good things about that one though, although I will admit it is kind of odd that they're releasing the third one first before the first and second one. And from what I understand, any actions you make on the first and second one can be carried over to the third one as well. Sort of like what the Mass Effect trilogy was, though. So to me, those are probably the big three that sort of stood out the most in terms of what they showed off at this Nintendo Nindies Direct, though. And when I was watching it, though, you saw some people who were in the chat room. They were saying Fortnite and all that stuff, but whatever. But to me, it was okay, though. I mean, there were some good announcements, though. I like the three that I mentioned, though. However, but it wasn't really anything that blew me away or anything like that, though. And I'm hoping that when they show their E3 Direct or their E3 digital presentation, they have something exciting to show. This one, like I said, there was some good announcement, but it wasn't really anything exciting or anything like that, though. But I will say it wasn't disappointing either. I'm looking forward to trying out the Banner Saga, especially all three games, and Mark of the Ninja Remaster and the Messenger as well, though. So, and of course the pool one from Adult Swim Games as well. So to me, it was an okay Direct. It wasn't exactly perfect or anything like that. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either, though. But again, like anything, every Direct or every showcase, whether it's a Nindy one or a non-Nindy one, there's going to be some hits and misses, and depending on how high your expectation is, if you raise it too high, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. If you raise it too low, then you might also be disappointed as well. If you set it towards the medium, though, you probably won't come away as disappointed, even if they don't announce the game you want them to announce and so on. So, to me, overall, a decent Nindy showcase / Direct, but nothing really huge. At least for me, it wasn't, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about our third and final part, which is the surprise announcement of Ark Survival Evolved coming to the Nintendo Switch. We'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the third and final part of our My True Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be talking about a game that apparently was surprised that this was announced for the Switch, and it was recently showed off at GDC, I believe it was happening this week, and that was Ark Survival Evolved. And the fact that that game got announced for the Switch is kind of surprising, considering the history that game has gotten in terms of development and in terms of optimization for other systems. So in a recent interview, if I can get it up, I think it was under Game Industry, but this was covered by Nintendo Life, again, link in the description. In terms is basically, here it is. Yesterday we got a shock reveal that Ark Survival Evolved, Studio Wildcard's open world survival sim with added dinosaurs naturally, is headed to the Nintendo Switch sometime in the autumn. Abstraction Game is the studio behind the port, and in a recent interview the developers revealed that in terms of performance, Switch isn't that far behind its base Sony and Microsoft counterpart. According to the developers, here's what they said, quote, Switch is not as powerful as the PS4 or Xbox One. Everyone knows that. Having said that, the difference isn't as big as the general perception you would have to believe. Comment Ralph Egas, E-G-A-S, he has to GameIndustry.biz. In some locations, you need to downsize a bit on the distance you're able to view, he added, but not as much as you think compared with Xbox One and PS4. Obviously, in terms of Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, that's a different story, but compared to the base platform, Switch is not that bad. According to him, the real issue is the cart. More specifically, how expensive the 32GB cards are. So Abstraction has to find a way to make it run on a 16-bit card without impacting the core experience. It's a crazy ratio we are talking about, Ralph revealed. However, thankfully, there are lots of opportunities for reduction without changing anything anyone will notice. Another thing we could do is a cartridge version and do a stag download to make the game complete. They did that with Doom, and I also think they did that with LA Noire as well. That's probably the hardest part, finding all these new technical and quirks that you get with a new platform. According to the developers, the studio surprised wildcard by providing a version of Ark on Switch that you can almost send for certification. When it was sent over to be shown at GDC 2018, progress on the Switch version is going really well, and the team is on track to bring the game in full to Switch later this year. As far as I could tell about this game, though, I'm kind of somewhat mixed, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. I know it's a port, I know some Switch owners out there have issues with ports, but I'm not fully against the idea of porting games over and bringing them over to the Switch. So I'm not against this game coming over, but I've heard some issues the game has had in terms of optimization. How, at least according to what I've seen from Digital Foundry, of how the game ran poorly, even like running well below 30 frames per second, although some of the patches have improved upon it, but there are still some issues, even with the Xbox One and Xbox One X. Even PC, for crying out loud, had issues running that game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well this game runs on the Nintendo Switch. Now, let's say for argument's sake it does. Let's say, just for argument's sake, the developers managed to pull off this game running at a solid 30 frames per second on the Switch. If they pull that off, I mean, some people are going to be amazed by this, even going as far as, you're telling me you couldn't get this game to run perfectly well on the PS4, Xbox One, Xbox One X, Pro, or even PC. No offense to PC, I'm aware that PC will always have the advantage, don't get me wrong, but there have been cases where games have been poorly optimized for the PC. Look at Batman Arkham Knight as one example right there. Anyway, basically what I'm saying is that you're telling me you could get this game to run well on the Switch, but you couldn't even get it to run well at the time for the PS4, the Xbox One, Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, and PC. I mean, some people would be surprised if they pull it off on the Nintendo Switch as well. And I am curious to see how this game plays out, though. But we've heard some stories about how bad this game was, how poorly it ran or something like that, to how like the game when it came out, the game tanked and all that stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see when this game officially comes out on the Switch in the fall, whether or not Switch owners are willing to open their wallets to buy this game. I mean, yes, you could say like, oh, but it's portable and all that stuff, which I don't disagree with. There's that advantage, but that's not going to mean much if the game runs poorly and runs terrible. And we've seen that before on the Nintendo Switch. Hello WWE 2K18 and Rime, although I heard now a new patch came out for Rime that now makes the game run well and all. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Ark Survival Evolved is going to run. So for me personally, I welcome the game coming to the Nintendo Switch though, but given its development history though, I do have some concerns. But maybe we'll learn more at E3 in June though. It's 3 months away, and hopefully when the game comes out, it runs well. If it runs perfectly well, and it will be really interesting to see how it looks when it's in both portable and in console mode, to be exact. So overall, I'm glad the development team's bringing the game to the Switch, but given the history of the game, I do have some concerns about it though. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about some of the information that has come out from Far Cry 5 though? Are you pleased with some of the announcements that they made, or do you have some concerns about it? Whether it's the campaign length, the fact that you can play the game offline or online, or how Ubisoft's approaching the microtransaction. And what about Ubisoft no longer being held by Vinvidel? If I'm saying the name correctly, I apologize if I'm not. Are you happy that now they are not being face a hostile takeover, or do you think that this was a bad move on Ubisoft's part, though? What did you think about the Nindies Direct that came out? Did you like the Nindies Direct or showcase? Did not like it? Were there any games that interest you that they showed in that 11-minute Direct / showcase, or was there really nothing that interests you at all? And what about Ark Survival Evolved coming to the Switch? Are you surprised by this announcement? Are you happy that this game is coming to the Nintendo Switch? Or do you have some concerns based on how the other versions that have ran? Although I wouldn't be surprised if patches have been released and those run well at this time, though. But either way, do you have concerns about it running on the Nintendo Switch, or do you don't have any concerns at all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have different thoughts and opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then.